ahead and get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you all for joining us today on this bright and sunny Tuesday in South Louisiana. We have about 42 participants on the call, so thank you all for coming. As we proceed through our e-construction monthly webinar today, I just encourage you to certainly ask questions, unmute yourself, feel free to use the chat feature if you are not comfortable unmuting yourself. And of course, as usual, Les and I are here if you need anything. If there are any questions that you want to ask us, we are happy to assist. So that being said, welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. All right, a little bit of our agenda today. I'm going to speak on just some safety topics that we have right now in the industry. Certainly, as I know each of you probably have gotten an email from me, if there is ever a time during one of our monthly webinars that you would like to highlight your organization, whether that be your unit or for some of our CEI firms, maybe that's a safety moment that you have from some of the projects that you're working on for LADOTD. I definitely encourage you to speak up. It is not anything formal or exciting or anything like that. We just want to make sure that we are certainly including you and making sure that you have an opportunity to voice your partnership. And so I definitely encourage you to reach out, and I'm happy to allow you to share a safety moment. As we progress through our call today, we are going to talk, of course, a little bit about the HeadLight mission. I believe Sean from Hall Hub is here. He's going to be talking to us about multi-ticket assignment. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to give you an update on the VPN access that some of you probably have seen on your iPads. And then some other updates regarding some other functionality in the system. And then, of course, we're going to highlight our HeadLight heroes. So that being said, certainly I like to, of course, make sure that we all know why we're here. We, of course, appreciate our partnerships, but we want to make sure that our family members and our workers get home safe at the end of the day. So as we look at our safety moment for July, it is packed with lots of stuff per usual, as you can see there in that bottom seasonal safety topics that typically in July we are concerned with heat stress and summer hazards. So we have a couple of events there and a couple of just call outs as it relates to heat awareness and heat stress. Of course, we just had our 4th of July holiday. Hope you all had a good 4th of July spent with your family and friends. And as we celebrated that, I'm sure a lot of you were exposed to some fireworks. I know we were. And so, you know, as that relates to that, both fire protection as well as hearing protection. So just making a few of those call outs, you know, it always helps to be reminded of the things that should be front of mind as we think about the safety of our workers and our family. You can see there towards the top, there were some industry initiatives and campaigns that I wanted to call out. Certainly Safe Driver Week as it comes up in the following week, and then talking about things that we certainly don't ever want to experience regarding vehicle theft, but doing our best to prepare and be proactive in some situations like that is always very helpful. I did spend a lot of time out in West Texas in a previous life, and so certainly as we talked through transportation and the different impacts to the industry that had, speeding awareness was front of mind because those are kind of like, you know, free reign for speeders. So again, just making sure that each month as we go through our e-construction webinar that while we want to, of course, give you topics and give you relative information to what you're experiencing and provide resolution to the challenges you have, I also want to make sure that we are making sure that, you know, you have what you need to go safely throughout the jobs that you're working on. All right. And of course, you know, I always do like to go over our mission statement at HeadLight, just because, again, you know, we're all here for a reason. And so the partnership between HeadLight and LADOTD has been a long-standing one for a lot of years now. And so as we look toward our shared mission, we want to modernize those workflows of critical operations with the trusted data, making sure that we are bringing together all of that data to make smarter, better educated decisions as we go through the next couple of years. So that is our mission at HeadLight. All right, and then I believe our friend Sean is on the line from Hall Hub. Sean, are you here and are you ready?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that, Lauren.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, let's get into pay coding tickets here within the EDOT app and the web platform. I'm going to share my screen. Looks like I'm sending a request to do so. Lauren,
I got you.
perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so pay coding within our EDOT app and the web instance for every inspector's account. It can be done on either way, and I do want to still review the mobile side first, but also emphasize the ease of doing it, after your shift on the web, where you can bulk apply it to all the tickets that you've accepted and confirmed delivered for your shifts. That way, if you're out on site, you have a lot going on. Um, if it feels like it's burdensome for your specific project that day or throughout, then this kind of will show you how to make this less of a constraint when you're out there on site and how quickly you can do this on the web. But everyone should be seeing my screen. I'm gonna kind of expand the mobile app here. And so if this is your project as an inspector that you are working, you're in your job, tickets are in your view when the trucks are leaving the plant. Um, they're arriving on site and you have, added your notes, whatever the relevant, notes and temps are, that you need to put on the ticket. And then you're marking them delivered, as you confirmed, here by punching the mark delivered button. And then you're getting prompted to assign your pay code or pay codes. So even though it prompts you to do this, and you can see I can affirm the delivery again at the bottom, this isn't a requirement to do on the mobile app, but it is good to do if you feel like maybe the trucks aren't arriving so fast. Maybe you are just needing to stay on one particular part of the job site. Then you obviously have the ability to hit search items where you're going to see a list of all your items. Now, this is just kind of a demo example, but you would actually see your entire list where you can search the pay code, search by unit of measure, but you can apply that pay item and then hit use net to stamp the total net quantity of that truckload of material that you're confirming is delivered to that pay item code. And then if you need to add a note and confirm delivery here. So this is definitely, the full process of accepting that truckload e-ticket on our eDot Inspector app. And if you do this throughout your shift, then all your materials are pay coded. You can run a reconciliation report within the project on the web, which I'll showcase here in just a moment, to view your total confirmed quantity for each pay item relative to the estimate for the project. Now, if you don't really have time or feel like you would rather do this all at once at the end of your shift, then you can punch a ticket and mark it delivered. And you can totally bypass assigning any pay codes to that truckload e-ticket within the app. Just hit confirm delivered again, and you are still confirming, the delivery for the quantities for that truckload, of material. If you want to, then at the end of the shift, go to our edot.com where you sign in to your web instance. And within your project, there are a couple areas where you're able to bulk assign your pay codes. So if I'm done with my shift and I log into my same project on the website, then I'm going to go to all my delivered tickets. And this is where I can group things by date. So if you haven't set up a grouping structure for your tickets page, then it's going to look like this, which is all of your tickets from the most recent for your project at the top, where you would be able to see that information. But if I want to assign my pay codes all at once, then I'm going to drag my date column up to the top and say I want to do this for, my shift on July 3rd. There's 12 tickets here, and I'm going to select all of those tickets. And then I'm going to hit code by materials. This is where I'm going to see every single ticket that I've confirmed was delivered throughout my shift. And I'm going to drop down my pay item code list. And this is where if I say it's asphalt, I know that it's going to be a tonnage pay item. So I'm going to click on ton. And then I'm going to stamp the specific pay item code for these tickets and apply all here. Then I'm going to hit use net, which is going to default the quantity for this pay item for every single ticket to be the net quantity that was ticketed and that I accepted. It is good to note that within the ticket on the mobile app, if I did remove any waste by entering a waste value, then that will already be deducted from the net quantity assumed here. Then I can apply to all. And at the bottom right, just affirm. You can leave notes specifically if there's any tickets that you need to go add a note to. You can just select that here, but I'm going to just apply all, and then I'm done. So instead of marking delivered and then searching my pay item and stamping it and hitting Usenet on the mobile app, I just pay coded all my tickets for my shift on whichever date that shift ran here. So very quick and easy. If you do need to go back and select a specific ticket and edit, you can do that at any time as well as clear the pay code. If you do hit edit, maybe it's because you need to split it out. Then I can go back and search another pay item code to add. And then I can go ahead and select whichever ones that I need to, and then add that pay item code as well to this here. Then I just need to, after that, allocate which quantity I'm going to actually assign to that secondary pay item code. And once you do, then you can confirm that. And that one ticket will be split across two different pay item codes across two different quantities. But it's really effective, obviously, if you want, especially if there's going to be one pay item code for that mix for your shift, then very easy to just go to your delivered tickets page, just select all tickets for that day and code those materials. Then at any point in time, you can go down to our reporting feature here and click on reconciliation report and hit create report. You can run a report by pay period or by a date range. And if you want to have all of the tickets as well in their own sheet within this Excel report, just select this here and then just hit have it emailed to you. And once that's emailed to you, at any point you could run this in your project as you are pay coding your tickets after each shift. And then what that's going to tell you is, the project information at the top, along with the pay period that you are wanting summarized for the start date. And then if it's still an in progress pay period, you would say in progress here. But you're going to see all of your pay item codes that you've assigned per the estimation for the entire project, and then how much net quantity to date. And so what's your leftover balance to finish at that point of the project going forward. So your estimate and all these pay item codes are here for you to select, and these are being fed in from HeadLight, before your projects begin. And so that's how this estimate is being reflected here. And so then as you're pay coding, then all the net quantities are going to just tally up, and then you're going to always know how much you have left based on that estimation for your project. Now, how pay periods are managed, if you scroll down in your project, you can see here pay period one. If I click into this, one, I can see how many tickets total have been coded, to date for this project, and then what's left to be uncoded. And so if I click into, this pay period, all my coded tickets, this is where if I, as an inspector, close this pay period, it will automatically begin pay period two, and pay period one will be locked in. And so that's where the how the pay periods are organized, and this can be done obviously within the cadence that you guys typically are paying out on. If that's biweekly, then whoever is managing this project could come in here and close pay period one on the date where then you would have that summary and run that reconciliation report per pay period one to get that estimate of the total balance thus far that the contractor has delivered to you guys. You also can go down here and see all the uncoded tickets and use this page as same as your delivered tickets page. And you can expand and select all, and you can code by materials as well here. So there are a lot of inspectors that it really just depends on the pace and how hectic it is on site if you're going to pay code your tickets as you're confirming them delivered on the mobile app. But also, it's not like that's a requirement. You can always just come back and go to all your delivered tickets after your shift and do it for an entire day all at one time. So, yeah, any questions, obviously feel free. And I haven't seen the chat, so I don't know if any have come in, but definitely recommend using that feature. And curious to hear your all's feedback as you guys use it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. I know we have a user in the chat that is attempting to complete that right now. Can the user that's in the chat, I would love to call you by name, but I don't see where it shows me your name. Can the user in the chat that's having a challenge with that, can you speak up? Can you unmute and see what you're being challenged with? And I see Patrick attempted to help, but it looks as though we might be talking about two different things.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, this is Daniel Shank. I'm on a tablet, so it didn't get my name. But yeah, I just actually I'm filling in for an inspector, and they just finished a load, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I go in, it's two different handicap ramps, and it's concrete sidewalk. I click the sidewalk, I click the ramp. When I click the other ramp, it tells me that I can only select two. Am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, so as far as adding or applying multiple pay codes to one ticket, we only have the ability to apply two different pay item codes for a single truckload e-ticket.
No, that's
You,
unfortunate.
how many typically are you needing? And that's something that we could always, take back and look into. Is there like tickets where in that instance where you need to apply three or four different pay item codes to a single truckload e-ticket?
Well, I'm sure that would happen. This is not my field, so I really don't know. But what I'm here at right now, they used Class M mix, and they poured two ramps, and they poured some sidewalk. So that's three different pay items. So that's I'm sure it's going to come up more than that more in the future.
Sean,
Okay.
I can step in here a little bit. So there's a possibility for multiple pay items, especially dealing with concrete. On asphalt, you're probably only going to have two. I mean, I guess it could get to three if you have a couple of different control sections. But on concrete, you could use one truck to pour four different handicap ramps, which might all be different pay codes.
Yep.
So I do see what Daniel's saying here. Concrete specifically could probably get up there now. One truck, I mean, you're not going to pay more than 4 or 5, I would think.
Yeah, it was only 8 yards, but
Right.
just like with Class B, it could be curb, it could be pavement, and it could be they could probably even do a handicap ramp with B if they got enough mix. So that's
Right.
three items as well.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great feedback. I mean, I haven't heard that a ton, but not all states are jumping into concrete and are at the point of requiring that for concrete projects. So this is great feedback for us to take back, and it sounds like we need to go ahead and expand that to allow you to apply more than just two pay codes for each ticket. So that is definitely feedback that I'll be taking back to our product team.
Just a heads up, Sean, on the material certificate side.
Hmm.
This type of feature would be useful as well, assigning the individual CA, CDs to pay items.
Oh, that'd be great.
And I've seen upwards of 17 to 20 different pay items be assigned to stuff like geotextile fabric or stuff that's used all across the project.
Okay. No, that's great. Yeah, we can definitely review that and appreciate that call out for sure.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. Well, thanks, Sean. I appreciate you demoing that for us. And Daniel, thanks for your question. No question is ever too hard. I'm so glad that y'all are asking these difficult questions, that you're experiencing challenges so that we can make sure we're providing resolutions. So thank you both for that.
And just one other heads up, on the call yesterday with Hall Hub, it sounded like they were getting this paired with Astorware Project to actually feed this information back. So once they get that API set up, we're going to work with HeadLight to try and get this information pumped back to HeadLight as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So a little update on our recent challenges with VPN and accessing the internet. So certainly most of you should have seen that we have added Global Connect to all of the HeadLight iPads, to the iPad self-service app. And then Les, I believe, has worked on a user list and sent that over to OTS to be added to Global Connect. Anything else that you want to add to that, Les?
Yeah, I can discuss it for just a minute. So I have the Global Connect app on my iPad. I've actually had it before it was added to self-service so I could test. At first I didn't think it was going to work. I thought there were some issues there, but I was able to work through those issues, found a process that works so that we are able to use Global Connect to get to the intranet page on our iPads. So I was working with a contact at OTS who I said, okay, I figured this out. It looks like it's going to work. What do we need to do to get users access? And he said he needed name, email, and personnel number. I had names and emails of everybody, but not personnel numbers. So I actually created a list. It was like almost 500 users, got the personnel numbers, sent that over to my contact there. I've not heard anything back. I would assume that's going to take a while to get everybody added. But this is one thing, I didn't talk to them about this, but this is one thing you could do now. So if you are needing access to the Global Connect VPN, you could submit a service request to OTS and tell them that you need access to Global Connect, and that you would be using this on your iPad as an app. And they could send you and see if they could add you to the list and send you to the settings. That might be faster than waiting on them to go through the whole 500 names, which probably only half of the people would even use Global Connect because everybody who's in construction, I just sent their names over. So that's one thing you could do if you need it specifically now. Maybe send in a service request and see if they could do that for you. But yeah, that's the update I have on it. Hopefully, once they give me some more guidance on it, I'll try to create a little one pager, step by step on how you can get in and use it. If you do send in a request and get added to Global Connect, if they don't send you something on how to set it up, email me and I'll walk through that with you. But anyway, I think the takeaway here is that it is good news that we actually have something that replaces the AnyConnect VPN and that we will still actually be able to get there using the iPad. So that's all I have for that update, Lauren.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, thank you for that. Any other questions as it relates to the VPN? Has anyone had any other challenges or anything of that nature? All right.
Hey, Lauren, this is Brian. I have a quick question. On that list of 500, can we do a possible, maybe less a prioritization of that list and have them only work on, the priority numbers first?
We could, but I don't know what the priority would be. So we would have to get everybody on the list to tell me if they would use it or not, which would be the same as them sending in to OTS themselves. So
all right, just asking. Thanks.
yeah, I was trying to, head off some of the work instead of sending individual OTS tickets in, but that was the best I could come up with at the time. Maybe when they respond back to me, they might respond back with that. If that happens, I could send out maybe a Google form and let everybody who needs it right now fill that form out. Obviously, those who don't need it would not fill that out. I guess that would be one way to update it. So maybe I can work on that, Brian.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Great. All righty. Next update that we have for everyone is around payments, change orders, and the funding pilot. So again, Les and I can kind of tag team here around the current status of these projects. So we have selected 2 projects to begin piloting. You can see those there. They are both with Dane Lacoste and Kevin Adams, both of those units. And so we have had a kickoff meeting. We have granted access to the users for both of those projects. We've conducted our foundational training, but we have a little bit more training for those units that will be coming at the end of this week, beginning of next week, to actually dive into change orders, payments, stockpile, things of that nature, making sure that we're all aligned around work items and things of the sort. And so the first estimate is scheduled for August 1st right now. And I believe that project for Unit 256 did kick off. The contract period was June 30th, and I believe they began work last week. So well on our way to piloting this next piece of configurability in the HeadLight system. So we're happy to give this update to you, certainly as updates become available and as we continue to work through the functionality of the system and make sure that all of the bits and pieces are there. We will certainly continue to provide you with updates. Les, anything I'm missing on that or any other additional information that you'd like to provide around this pilot?
I think you covered everything on the pilot. Just, so just realize we're just trying to keep you in the loop here of where we're at. And so it kind of gives you a better understanding of when this might come your way, so we're going to get through a few estimates, probably at least 2 estimates for each of these projects. And then likely if those go well, we will start adding additional projects, maybe expand the pilot out some, because we want a multiple grouping of projects, not just 2. We want to make sure this works across all of the types of LADOTD projects. And so be thinking through that. And, if in the next couple of months you are going to be having a new project start and you think you would like to be part of the pilot, you can go ahead and start sending that into the e-construction team. And so we'll it's not a guarantee that you'll be on the pilot, but send those to us so that if we decide to expand that out due to successes, then we would, maybe add your project in as well. And then, hopefully if all of this goes well, we'll start moving towards a statewide rollout. But that will not happen until we have, and I'm going to say this specifically because I see there are lots of people on here, which is great and encouraging to see the lab getting involved here. We're waiting on that LIMS part for our labs and even a couple other things before we're able to do a full statewide rollout that would start to replace Site Manager. And so that's going to be coming in the future. I'm specifically talking here if you have a project that you want to try change orders and estimates on as a pilot, that would be what we're looking for. New projects maybe coming in the next month or 2. So.
Yes, that's a great call out, Les. Thank you. I do see where Connor asked a question in the chat around guidance on the project progress report. And so, Connor, can you expand a little bit on that? What particular issues or challenges are you having with the project progress report?
Basically, I mean, if you follow the video that was sent to us on how to do the project progress report, pretty simple. You select your project and enter the dates and run the report, but it doesn't. The things that populate in the video don't populate on our reports on our end, like the line items, the days, basically the amount of charge days you've had, percent complete, and project percent complete on the amount of money that was basically spent on the project. It just really doesn't populate anything. Nothing like what the video shows.
So, Les, do you want to expand on that?
I don't know that I can. I'll say this. I believe the only part of that is working now is you enter the month, year, and any supporting documentation that you want in there, and that's all that populates. I'm not sure that I even watched the video. I'm not sure what it shows it's supposed to do, but I don't believe any of that is connected at this time. So looking forward, when we fill this out, it's going to populate to our project viewer that's on our web page. But since that part's not connected, I think all you're doing now is giving that estimated completion time that shows up on another report that we get here at headquarters.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the same thing I understand is you're just given the time frame and the data right there. None of the other pieces of that particular form. Is that correct?
I think so. Connor, I'll take up when we get off the call today, I'll take a look at that. And if I need to send out an update to what that video shows, that might have been showing some future, stuff that form is going to do. I'm not sure. I'll take a look at that and send that out if we need to.
Yeah, I've spoken with a couple engineers that, they're like, hey, does it work for you? Because what we're doing is we're looking at the video, right? And if
Yeah.
what we're seeing on our end doesn't match the video, we assume
Okay.
it's not working correctly. But
Yeah.
if we don't need all of that, if we just need simple dates and a completion date, then
I tell you what, we will have an update on the construction roundup webinar next week. I'll make sure that we go over that.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks for the feedback there.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Appreciate you. All right. Anything else that anyone has in the chat? So, of course, just like Connor did, and just like Daniel did, just feel free to use that chat. We're happy to answer any questions. All right, as we look at our next topic, of course, I believe Les sent out the monthly newsletter this morning. And so, you should have received that in your inbox. And so I did want to call out the HeadLight Hero that Les highlighted in the monthly newsletter. And so this month we actually have 3 HeadLight Heroes. They are from District 2, Unit 292. You can see the folks listed there. And then I also wanted to call out why they were chosen as HeadLight Heroes. So, certainly as we go forward and as Les identifies folks that are really jumping in and utilizing the platform the most, we want to make sure that we're giving credit where credit is due. So anything to add to that, Les?
I will say, so if you look in the newsletter, there is a place to nominate users for HeadLight Hero of the Month. When that doesn't happen, when nobody is nominated, I just kind of randomly search through Fieldbook until I see somebody doing a great job on something. And so it is not, I will say it's probably not a very exhaustive review of every job in the state. And then we're saying, okay, this person did the best. It is just like, hey, we stumbled across this group is doing a great job. And so we'll call them out. It is much easier for us when you guys nominate your peers, but we're happy to do it either way. And we're thankful for all those who take the time to really document these projects well. But I did stumble across this. I was actually looking for some other information, and there was a couple of projects that this office was doing, Unit 292, that Matt Burgess's office down in District 2 in New Orleans. They were working on some movable bridges, and we're just doing a great job documenting, and even noticed that the reports were really getting Homa. Okay, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. I even noticed that the reports were being reviewed very timely and getting sent over to site manager, within a couple of days, which is what our guidance always is there, trying to get that stuff in there. And you want it to turn green so that we make sure that we don't have problems at the end of the month when we're running those estimates. And so just lots of great images there, lots of good tags on both of the projects. And so we just wanted to call that group out and really appreciate what they're doing down there. Daniel, you mentioned Homa there, but I'm just going to be honest with you. When you brought up you were out on the project working through Hall Hub tickets today, we're going to give you HeadLight Hero for the day. I love to see a PE out trying to learn how to utilize the tools and make sure that those projects are documented well. It's always great to see a PE out getting their hands dirty.
Yep, I'm running 2 jobs right now as an inspector.
We're going to give you the webinar HeadLight Hero. You're on the webinar and inspecting and doing tickets, and that's great. That's awesome.
Yes.
And
Even
with
got an Apple Pen to doodle on the tablet.
the traffic safety month, try out that safety notification thing in the EDOT portal too.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. I'll check it out.
Awesome.
Daniel,
Awesome.
have you seen what Patrick's talking about? Have you seen how to set up a work zone in Hall Hub?
No, I have not. But is that in conjunction with how they were going to survey? They were going to have stations on the project. Is that the same?
So the stationing is actually a separate feature. So that's a feature as well. You can do stations, but the work zone is actually, you can go into the map there and drop pins like where you are on the map. And when you drop the pins and set up your work zone, and then you activate that work zone, basically when you're receiving tickets, the system is notifying, I believe, Apple Maps and Waze right now. It's actually sending out a notification that there is active construction going on, not just that, see, okay, there's road work ahead, right? There are people here working is what it's telling, the navigation apps. And so just a really good safety feature, and it's super easy.
Yep, I'll do it tomorrow. They got pours all week.
Okay, cool. If you need some help, just give me a holler.
I have been, just so you know, and I haven't been instructed to do this, but I just think it's good practice. I've instructed all of my staff to, in addition to the 4 or 5 observations that are required of HeadLight, work hours, general remarks, etc., to create an additional observation of traffic control management. Document in a sentence or two what's being closed from what street to what street, reference the TTC specific detail sheet that's being used, and then reference that you've inspected it and that it's in place, and tag it traffic control management. And I started that last week. So everybody, every day on every project is required to do that.
That's awesome. That's really some good information. Like if Brett Morgan's riding through and he needs to see what's been going on, that'd be great. It'd be great for him to take a look at that as well. He has an iPad, and one of the issues we've had in the past with including, for those of you who don't know, Brett Morgan's our statewide traffic something, I don't know what it does, but he rides through the projects and does traffic control inspections, right?
Yep.
So it looks like it's going to take a separate module, like a specific module for him to be able to interact with each project. But yeah, he is aware of HeadLight, and he looks in on it. Sometimes we give him access to projects when he needs it. And so what we would like there is that when he does a ride through, he's able to upload images and give guidance on what the contractors need to correct on their stuff. And then it lives within that HeadLight project. And then also probably would just be a form for you guys, right? And so that you would get a notification, hey, Brett rode through, here's what needs to be corrected. You guys can update that form, close the loop on it, contractor corrected, items 1, 2, and 3, and that all that lives within the project instead of back and forth in email. And so we're moving towards that and hoping to have that after we get through some of this contract administration stuff and start getting that rolled out. That is on our roadmap to get him all there.
Yeah, so to piggyback on that, he actually just rode through all mine the other day. So the current setup is everything is done in Site Manager. So
that's right. Yes.
Begs the question, and that's exactly what happens. He rides through. He puts a note in the project folder. You're supposed to go click the folder. When you open it, you see what his comments are, and then you have 5 days to go in it and actually type the corrections and hit save. Well, when Site Manager goes away, he's going to need something to practice. So yeah, it's like a seamless transition.
What we're thinking right now that it's just a simple form that HeadLight could create for him, and that he would be able to put that on every project. So we think it's a fairly easy workflow, but it will be there. It's on the roadmap.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? All right, good deal. Well, again, I certainly appreciate you all taking the time to join our call today. After the call, Les and I will work together to get you over the call recording and the recap of our conversation today, as well as the presentations that were provided. So I certainly appreciate you all. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will see y'all next week on the Construction Roundup.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.